I believe, at least 8 or 10 times. And he's one of the more talented players that we have in our room today. Now, Jason opens up, and it's land versus land Diregraph Ghoul.
Andy's list has the usual 4 Gravecrawler, 4 Diregraph Ghoul, but he's also packing 4 Orzhov Charm, a card that Sam eschewed in his list, as basically Diregraph Ghouls, 5 through 8 sort of, as far as recurring Gravecrawlers go.
Augur of Bolas from Jason Terry. Looks like was that a big whiff? Or did he get the Devour Flesh? I think it was a big whiff.
Maritime Guard's still perfectly respectable in this situation. Perfectly respectable gentleman. Shockland for Andy.
Godless Shrine.
Godless Shrine and Orzhov Guildgate are 2 of the keys to making this deck work for sure.
Oh, wow. Woo. Wow, that was unexpected. Orzhov Charm, get out of the way. I'm going to get some damage in.
The Vendetta functionality of Orzhov Charm, destroying Augur of Bolas at minor cost.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Glenn Jones. This is round 9 of 10 for the Star City Games Open Series here in Cincinnati. Jason Terry on the right with Esper Control, a Planeswalker-style build, cast a Lingering Souls, and this is facing off against a Diregraph Ghoul and 2 mana.
Andy decided to get really aggressive with that Orzhov Charm on turn 2, and given the hand that Jason seems to have, it might have been a little too early.
Well, he's not really got many opportunities to make much use of it otherwise still.
Well, his deck can grind out a pretty long game. I think that it's possible saving the Orzhov Charm for something else later on might have worked out. However, Jason did not trade his Lingering Souls for that Diregraph Ghoul this time.
And joining Andy's team, we have the Geralf's Messenger with the Undying, kind of a reverse Kitchen Finks.
Jason taking the offensive. It looks like he's trying to capitalize on that early Shockland and Orzhov Charm with his Lingering Souls tokens. After all, there's plenty of time to block when your life total is much closer to 0. I can see that it looks like he has a Forbidden Alchemy and a Tragic Slip in his hand.
And there's the Devour Flesh.
And a Devour Flesh. Is a deceptively simple choice for Andy. He's wondering, yeah, I'm definitely going to sack this one, right? Like, okay.
I don't know that that's such a simple choice. I mean, yes, the Diregraph Ghoul dies forever, but at the same time, if he sacrifices his Geralf's Messenger, that means Jason Terry can use a Supreme Verdict to forever remove the Geralf's Messenger.
Also true.
In for 2, says Andy, knocking Jason to a low 8. In the last time we saw Jason, he was playing against the Aristocrats deck, and he was very willing to take a lot of damage in order just to build for a stable board. And maybe we see now with that second Geralf's Messenger why Andy didn't seem to hesitate getting rid of that first one to the Devour Flesh.
Tragic Slip is going to remove a Geralf's Messenger somehow. Yep.
That looks like the one that was already wounded.
I think we may have to reconsider our willingness to trade Lingering Souls with Diregraph Ghoul at this point. Because we don't have a 5th land, Jason can't even make the play of attack, flashback or cast Forbidden Alchemy and flashback Lingering Souls unless he alchemies for a land now. Which
he goes for it.
He's going to do.
Detention Sphere, Tameo, Augur.
Oh, land.
Ooh, there it is.
You got there on the 4th card.
You see that little shake of his head, that little twitch? It's like, oh, that was close.
That would have been a big setback for Jason, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has to take the land. These spells are all good, don't get me wrong, but can he afford to just take one of them and then pass on blocking duty with Lingering Souls?
Oh, what is he doing? I can't tell. Let's find out.
Oh,
I think that's a spell.
I think he took the... Oh, he took the Tameo, I believe.
He did take the Tameo.
That's really aggressive. We still need the land. We have a bunch of Lingering Souls available. We have more in our hand as well, but... Oof.
Jason Terry. In they come. Splitsies. Okay.
It's a bold move on 6 life.
Yes, it is. And Cavern of Souls comes down. That's the 5th mana for Andy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a punishing move.
Obsidiat. Oh, or Obsidat.
Andy is now coming at him from multiple angles, and he'll be able to escape the likes of Supreme Verdict or removal spells that might handle the Messenger, unlikely to also be able to handle the Obsidat. Case in point, Liliana the man.
Jason Terry struggling to muster any kind of defense here. I'm really loving the look of Andy Ferguson's deck. And packs it up.
Black-White Zombies is a deck that existed before Gatecrash. It was played a little bit, way back when. I think it like the DC Open, I think, was the last time I saw it. I know somebody was playing it there. I think it might have even been Brad Nelson, actually. But it hasn't really come together because we were lacking Godless Shrine. Now that we've got it, things have changed.
I mean, the major reason that Black-White Zombies lists even existed was Lingering Souls. And you can still run it. Andy Ferguson does have 4 copies of Lingering Souls in his deck. But now, the Orzhov flavor from Gatecrash gives it so many more tools. So I think it has taken a step up in a huge way.
Obviously, Obsidat is one of the more powerful cards from the Gatecrash set. It's been getting a lot of press in multiple decks. So that's a given. I'm personally pretty excited to see Orzhov Charm. That's a card that when I was first seeing cards from the set, was pretty interested in, because it seems like 2 of the modes, have been pretty tournament playable cards. We've got a Pseudo Unearth, which obviously Unearth has been always relatively reasonable, and then Vendetta, which has been a cube staple for many, many years for many people.
Totally reasonable too. I mean, when Vendetta was first printed in Masks block, Vendetta was a card that saw play then.
Lots of play. So it's pretty interesting to see. And the third mode, which is a little wordy for my taste, to be frank, but is effectively bounce your own guy.
Well, I mean, if you've got a Rancor on it, then you get your... wait a second. If you've got a...
It's really awkward. I'm personally... Maybe I'll get to ask the question, perhaps at the Seattle Open. I'm really curious as to why Orzhov Charm had to bounce those auras. Why?
You know what I'm actually not sure of with that Orzhov Charm? Is what spell it's casting. Because usually all of those things are like...
A pseudo
spell. And I'm just not quite sure what kind of charm you're getting.
Yeah, certainly not one that I'm known... I know the Orzhov to be casting frequently, but it's an interesting card, and both the modes do have uses, or I should say all 3 of the modes. In this deck, the bounce mode actually can reset things like Undying for your Drows Messenger, which is an additional protection against the Supreme Verdicts we mentioned earlier. Very few things could possibly kill an Obsidat if you have the charm to save him. It should be nigh impossible when played correctly.
In the background there, you can see the... coverage runner this weekend who's been doing a great job. That's Patricia, right over to the right shoulder of Jason Terry. Next to Andy Ferguson. I don't know that judge, but there are about 75 judges running around this room to cover the 700 so players. I might be exaggerating on the number of judges, but one of the things that's great about these Star City Games events, there are a ton of qualified judging staff that are here making these events some of the smoothest run events that you're ever going to come to. Not to mention some of the largest events. This is the 3rd largest Star City Games Open and one of the largest events ever to be played in North America.
Yeah, I might be in here before the judges and leaving after the judges, but I can tell you they work some long shifts. The point of comparison is definitely there, and they're the ones handling the deck list, making a lot of our lives just significantly easier.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Glenn Jones. If you're watching along and you want to make sure that you let us know something, make sure that you are following at SCG Live. You can send us tweets. Also, the hashtag SCGCIN is the official hashtag for this event. It looks like we've got a mulligan for Andy Ferguson.
Looking into Andy's sideboard for the match, he knows he's up against Esper Control. I imagine he'll be pretty happy to be bringing in his Thalia, Guardian of Thravens, to slow his opponent down, and Appetite for Brains as a tool to disrupt his opponent's hand. He mentioned to me that against control decks, he's actually not a big fan of his own copies of Lingering Souls, which might surprise you. It's obviously a card capable of doing a lot of work in long games, but once he shifts into his Thalia plan, he becomes a little more aggressive, and Lingering Souls becomes much harder to cast with a Thalia in play.
That's really interesting because I feel like Lingering Souls is one of the kind of go-to cards that is good against control. So that's a very interesting statement to hear that he would say during that. Other cards, he didn't see much of Jason Terry's deck other than to know this is a control deck. So Thalia is very likely, and Appetite for Brains, those seem to be the most common ones. I know that one of Jason Terry's opponents brought in Rest in Peace in one of the previous matches. Now, Jason Terry does have some graveyard effects, but not very many, so it's not that great of a card choice, should Andy go that way. I don't think he will. Jason Terry on turn 2, Augur of Bolas.
Yeah, Andy is really demonstrating the importance of having Diregraph Ghoul over Gravecrawler in this matchup, where Augur of Bolas is slightly less of a wall.
We go to the second turn for Andy Ferguson.
I see an Orzhov Guildgate. I don't think I see another land, though. He may just be going Guildgate Pass here, which is going to slow him down a bit. It also is possible that having seen the Augur of Bolas, he's maybe less excited about Thalia, knowing that it can be easily stopped by the 1/3. And he has the Gravecrawler. Well, now we can pay 1 mana to get in 2 damage every turn, assuming our opponent has no other blocks. But
I mean, it does... That's useful.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, right? So apparently the mode that we're missing is the legend card Remove Enchantments.
Oh, that sounds very Orzhov-y. From their Legends days. Syndicate goes way back, I guess.
That's a stretch by me, by the way, to try to find something that is similar to that. So, because if you look at Remove Enchantments, it's not exactly that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason Terry with Lingering Souls, and Andy Ferguson untaps and comes on in with a team.
This is an interesting attack. I'm curious how Jason will block. I honestly am not sure how I would block. I feel like Augur and a Spirit, or maybe 2 Spirits on Diregraph Ghoul might be correct to just guarantee you kill that guy, and then hope the Gravecrawler gets taken care of with a Flashback Lingering Souls or something, but he's going to go for the more gentle block.
And the Gravecrawler returns. Another land added to the table. Orzhov Guildgate.
Jason does have Supreme Verdict rolled up, which might be one of the reasons he's okay with you know, taking it slow and not really putting much effort into killing a creature that'll die when he eventually casts that card.
Lingering Souls flashed back.
Flashing back Lingering Souls kind of indicates he doesn't intend to cast Supreme Verdict anytime soon.
One of the things we did see that Jason has done with this deck is he has gone beatdown very many times. We saw him finish 1 game in 3 minutes with this deck.
Wow.
Just on the back of To the Air plus Sorin.
That's fast. Sorin can turn games around like that very quickly. I saw some people playing, or I should say specifically Trevor Petrilli, one of our undefeated players, playing the Aristocrats against an Esper deck, and he really worked Sorin's emblems to just make every small creature a gigantic threat until eventually his opponent, in this case Open Champion Michael Valfato, just ran out of gas. Andy did appear to be a little land-strapped, having to lean on those guild gates. Another guild gate.
One of the things, that's the 3rd guild gate we see in play for Andy. I wonder if his mana is, as someone else said recently, too good. Those guild gates costing some of slowing down the initial mana that he has access to, and maybe he might even be able to get away with an extra swamp or so in there.
Yeah, Andy admitted that he'd felt the guild gates hurting him every now and then, but really he didn't think he could justify playing cards like Obsidat without the full amount of white mana. And he was pretty interested in playing that one. Who can blame him? Sweet 5 mana, 5/5.
And we see the Souls, only a few this time, marching on in.
Yeah, it looks like Andy's hoping to set up an attack with most of his creatures in the coming turns.
Jason passes. It looks like he's got land, at least 2 land, and a Supreme Verdict in his hand.
Andy does have the Orzhov charm that he sort of repped when he attacked. Curious to see how he might use it.
His Blood Artist. Oh, Lord. Now that card, what a monstrous drop that he just put down on Jason Terry.
I'm sure Jason's thinking right now, oh, that card does still exist. Blood Artist significantly changes a lot of combats and really changes Lingering Souls on Lingering Souls fights. The person with the Blood Artist, heavily advantaged.
Jason Terry looking for some way to make this not too terribly painful.
Looks like he's going for max pain here.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, Andy right now can actually play around Supreme Verdict with his Orzhov Charm. If the Diagraph Gould gets swept up, he'll be able to rebite at the end step, untap, replay Gravecaller. But if he does that, he's giving up the opportunity to just cast Gravecaller right now. I'm kind of curious to see which way he'll go. He can also just flashback Lingering Souls. Another line. Looks like he's going for something. He's going with the flashback.
With Blood Artist in play, that seems like a very reasonable choice.
Yep, he'll be able to guarantee that he deals a fair amount of damage should a Supreme Verdict actually happen. And we know that's basically all Jason can actually do. The innocuous 0-1 uncommon for 2 mana has really just completely changed the landscape of this game.
And we see Jason Terry go in for 3 damage here.
This is what we like to call the I have Supreme Verdict attack.
And Andy is looking at that as the possibility.
Yeah.
And Andy takes 1 from Augur and then drains 2.
He should be getting 4, right? For the block?
Oh, yeah, 4. Yeah, it's going to be... And then drains 4, pardon me, from the spirits. I only did 2 because Jason hadn't put his in the graveyard yet.
So that'll put Jason at 7, and now he's going to cast the Supreme Verdict and go to 4.
Wow, Blood Artist just destroying Jason there. Jason in a lot of trouble right now.
He does have a Forbidden Alchemy, so he'll be able to gas up if he gets to untap safely, which he should. Ooh, I think Andy just drew Sorin, though.
Oh, now Jason Terry crumbled to Sorin one of the last games we saw him play.
Looks like Andy's got a fair amount of gas. He has Cartel Aristocrat, Restoration Angel, Sorin, and I believe another copy of Lingering Souls. He wisely goes for the Sorin, which definitely not going to kill Jason the fastest, but it's the most durable of his threats by far.
Yeah, get this out here while you can.
A wonderful vampire token.
Back to Jason Terry, now at 4 life. A Supreme Verdict, Forbidden Alchemy, a Jace, I believe, Architect of Thought? Or is that I think that's a Jace.
I feel like if you had a Jace, you would
Forbidden
have
Alchemy,
that
yeah, I'm wrong. It was not a Jace. His own Sorin, a Detention Sphere.
He probably has to take just one of those answers. I'm not sure which one. I guess does it matter? I can't really think of a special reason why it would.
He takes
go with the
Sorin. Forbidden Alchemy to the yard. Sorin your Sorin. The Planeswalker rule comes into play, and they share the same subtype name.
Well, Andy,
if I'm using their incorrect terminology, my apologies.
It's close enough. I say it's close enough.
I still like thinking of it as the legend rule, but it's not exactly that either. You can see Andy Ferguson here on the left.
And on the offensive.
Tax for 1, lifelink. Goes up to 28, Jason at 3. All these options.
It's awkward because he has Restoration Angel in his hand, but he needs to commit slightly more threats to the board just to get a 1-turn clock going beyond the Angel itself, which is going to be a viable threat throughout the game.
Now, Supreme Verdict in Jason's hand. Very likely to be cast on this next turn.
Andy, it appears, as a Godless Shrine, is considering taking 2 to play another creature. I feel like that's probably a little too bold for him to do here. Oh, he takes 2 and passes. He's going to hold open that Orzhov Charm for his Diagraph Gould.
Ouch.
That is a tough spot for Jason. He's probably going to have to think that one through as well. He's thinking, this Black-White Zombie kid, he just took 2 for a shock land, but didn't play anything. What's going on?
And now he's looking through, and he actually put his finger on that Diagraph Gould. He knows.
He saw the Orzhov Charm in game 1. He remembered.
I mean, it doesn't look like he has very many options. It looks like he's got land, Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
This means he's just going to have to.
Yep, nothing doing. Just cast the Supreme Verdict, play another land.
And then hope that things don't go too badly.
Yeah. Hope we wake up the next morning and the world looks a little different.
What do you have open for mana? He's like, okay, cool. Cool, cool. Go. Maybe you'll forget.
Shuffle the hand for an extra long time. So yeah, he had he didn't get it. He's holding. Interesting. Maybe the card's a Cartel Aristocrat and he just decided to hold. Maybe he thinks he can get there better with Restoration Angel. I'm interested.
And thank you from the internets, Mr. John King, telling us it's the Planeswalker uniqueness rule.
Ah, well, there you go. Having worked for the World of Warcraft trading card game, I saw a lot of uniqueness violations in my day.
And here we see a Cartel Aristocrat.
So maybe we did miss-see the Orzhov charm there.
Maybe that wasn't an Orzhov charm. Maybe that was the Kartoff. Maybe that was just the Aristocrat. And Jason Terry untaps. He's going to need something really good here.
Howl Fountain doesn't look like it.
I don't think he has anything he can do besides find a Lingering Souls and discard it to the Forbidden Alchemy.
Yeah, he's flashbacking for 7. And he does have a land he can play untapped safely.
Right here. Not there.
No. He will be able to play Island and use that Orzhov charm.
And he says, good go.
Interestingly, Cartel Aristocrat prevents Azorius charm, from being able to do basically anything in that situation.
Look at Jason there. Jason pretty frustrated with this. He was